everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie back with you with another video. And so Christmas is over, had an enjoyable time, and now I want to get back into doing some vintage journals. So this one I want to do is a winter vintage journal. So I've gathered some supplies together, some digitals and some coffee dyed, tea dyed papers and stuff, and printed some things on vellum. And I want to put together a vintage winter journal. So I thought I'd bring you along with me. So first of all, let me just show you the papers that I've pulled together. So I am using a kit from My Porch Prints, and it's a winter kit. I will link it below. I also am using some vintage looking ephemera from Artful Era Gallery, and I've printed some of these old looking letters onto vellum, and I thought that would be fun to put inside the journal. So let me just show you the pages that I put together, and I've got 3 signatures. I also have this fabric, and I thought it would be perfect to make the cover out of it. I don't know yet what I'm going to be putting on top of it, but I thought this was amazing fabric. And this is a Tim Holtz fabric, and I get it locally here in Riverside. We have a shop that carries a lot of his fabrics. So I thought this would be perfect because then I can add some wintry things to the front of the journal. So I thought I'd do this in a few parts and bring you along with me, and let's just get creating. So let me just show you the pages first. Now I have printed the papers. They are just the papers from a winter kit from My Porch Prints, and I've printed them front and back. It would help if they were right side up. So I have done some of these. I just love all the beautiful, it's not like super Christmassy. I didn't want it Christmassy. I wanted it more neutral colors, and that's what these are. Now these I get from Willow paper. She does an amazing job on all these. And this is coffee dyed paper that my sister does, and she has this amazing pan that just puts all these wonderful lines in here. So she does that for me. This is also from Willow paper. And then this is some bubble dye that my sister also does. Now she's Pam from Nana's Crafting Cottage. If you don't know her yet, you can check her out. But she makes all kinds of stuff. She likes to do the coffee dyeing. I'm not that crazy about it. I'll admit. I will do it, but I'm not that crazy about it. So that's the first signature. So the second signature, I've got this piece. I wanted to have just some really vintage looking pages in here, and also winter pages. So I kind of more went with a lot of neutral colors and some of the blues, but I didn't want to go really bright in the blues or anything like that. So these are just all the papers that I chose. And I've got 4, I think it's 3 or 4 of these in each one. And then I've got 4 pages of tea dye, coffee dye, or some of this marble kind of paper or bubble paper. So I've got this one, and a lot of this is the same. So this is pretty much what I've decided to put in here. And then here's the last signature. I just love these old letters. And then I just love all this wintry pages, but more in the neutral. I didn't want anything bright blue. There's a lot of bright blue out there. I didn't want that. I wanted this to be vintage and neutral colors. And then this is pretty much the same of what we have in all of them. So that is what I've selected for the papers. And then I'm going to be using, we usually make Kodiak pancakes because my husband's diabetic and these work for him. So we do these, and I want to make the cover out of this. So I thought what I'd do is get this ready. It's got a perfect size for the spine. It's just a little bit over 2 inches, which is perfect for the 3 signatures that I want to use for that. So the first thing I want to do is cut this apart and get it prepped and ready to go. So for that, I'm going to just use my scissors. You can use a craft knife if that's what you like to use. And all I'm going to do is open this up. I will reinforce this as well. We will add some additional chipboard to this. But what's nice about this is, let me get this open and then I can show you that this is a perfect size. So the front and the back are just under 5 3/4 inches. So it works out perfect. It's more like 5 5/8. So that works perfect that way. And then when we get these flaps cut off, we have about 8 1/2. So it makes a perfect size for a journal. I either will use a cereal box, which I'll cut down, or I like using these because they're pretty much the right size. Okay, so now we have our journal cover. So the next thing I want to do is do some reinforcement on there. I have a piece of chipboard here that I want to use. So what I'm going to do is just measure this up, and I'm making it just a tiny bit smaller so that it doesn't interfere with the closing and opening at the spine side. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it here and here, and then I should be able to get the 2 pieces out of it with no problem, and we'll cut our pieces. Now for the spine, I want it to be extra sturdy, so I am probably going to cut 2 pieces, and we'll put one on the inside and one on the outside. So let's see how this first piece looks. That's perfect, just perfect. So I'm just going to measure this out. I think that's going to be fine. So we have our 2 pieces. We'll go on there. And then I'll just cut a piece for 2 pieces for the spine. So I will go ahead and do that and then come back to you. Okay, I have all the pieces cut now. So I have also a spine for the outside and one for the inside. And I've made it just a little bit smaller because I want it to be able to move freely. So the only thing that now we'll do is get all of these glued down, and then I'm going to cut some fabric that's going to cover the whole outside of the journal. Now the inside of the journal, I'm thinking I'm going to add cardstock from the same kit. So I will also figure that out too. So for gluing of these, I'm just going to use my Fabri-Tac. Fabri-Tac, Fabri-Fix. I think this one is Fabri-Fix. And I like using it because I can move it around a little bit more so than I can if I were to use my art glitter glue for this. So I'm just going to add all the glue, making sure I get it right to the edge. Okay, so we've got that all done. So the next thing I want to do is cut my piece of fabric. So typically what I like to do is lay my fabric out. This is doubled. So let's just open it all the way up. And then we're going to have about 1 inch all the way around. And that way we can do the corners nicely. So I'm just going to lay this here, and then I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm just going to cut a little nick in here because I'm going to tear this as well. Let's just kind of get this lined up straight, and then I'm going to make a cut here and a cut here for our journal cover. And then I like to make sure that I get this straight, because sometimes your fabric isn't quite straight and I don't like to waste a lot of it. So I just like to make sure that at least, because this has writing on it, that it's the right side up and that it's straight, so that it's not going to be like wonky or anything onto the side. You want to make sure it's that way. Okay, so that's going to be our cover. And I am going to use PVA glue for that and a brush. Okay, I have some PVA glue. Just going to add a little bit of water to it, thin it down a little bit. And I have my brush. And I just want to put a thin coat on my cover. So I'm going to turn it over, make sure this is straight and lined up with my cover. And then I have at least an inch all the way around. So that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to start on one side and then put the glue on and then put the fabric down. And then the next thing we'll do is do the inside. Okay, so now we can make our nice corners. Now this may buckle a little bit, but as it dries it will flatten out. So I like to do the sides first, on the short sides, and just put what you think you need to pull that fabric up. So you want to pull that fabric up and press it down, just like that. And then let's do the other side and do the same thing. Pull it up and press it down. Now we'll do the long sides. So we'll do the same thing, and then we'll add a little bit of the glue also in the corner here, so that we can make our corners look nice. And if they don't come out that great, I mean, don't stress over it. You can always add on metal corners, which a lot of times I do because I like the look of it. And then all I do is just kind of press that in, kind of hard to see, and pull it over. And get yourself a nice corner. Just take your time when you're doing this. So we have a pretty nice corner there. And then let me turn this around so you can see hopefully a little bit better. Just going to press that in and then pull this up. Let me press this down, then I'll show you. So now we have a pretty nice corner there. And over here. So when you hold your book closed, you can see the corners look really nice. And we'll do the same thing on this side as well. Okay, so now we have our cover on, and it will go like this. I love it. Love it so far. I'll figure out what I'm going to put in here, but I thought what I could do today also, so I'm going to do this probably like 3 parts, I'm thinking. And so I thought I'd show you the cover, that we would do that. And then also I want to work on the signatures, getting them folded and put them in place. I'm going to set my cover aside now, and I'm going to let this dry really well. So we'll just set that aside. And then I thought what I would do is take my signatures and get them folded. And also I will be cutting off some of the edges of the vellum and also some of the edges of the digital. So I thought, well, let's just work on one and then I can do the rest off camera. So let's just take this first signature set here. Whoops. And we'll set the others aside. Okay, so I want to do a deckled edge on these as well. So I thought what I would do is get these all folded. And I think the vellum piece is the first piece that I want to put on. And even if it's smaller, it does not make any difference. It's totally fine because we want different sizes in this. And then on these, I want the same thing. I want the deckled edge. So the easiest way for me to do this, because if you have the Tim Holtz deckle edge trimmer, is to have them folded in half before you actually go to cut them. So what I like to do is fold them in half, and it's about the same size on each side. And since this is only a certain width and you can't do this long edge side, folding them in half makes it easier. And then I just line it up and then cut, sorry for the noise, and trim all the way around. So that's what I find is the easiest way to do that. So I'll just do this one. I don't want this to be loud on the video. Then when you open it up, everything is all cut perfect and you get all those white edges cut off. So let me just go ahead and do this one as well. This is our piece of vellum. Now I've only printed on one side of this. That's all I really needed. I don't know how it would be printing it on both sides because I think it would kind of take away from it. So I just printed on one side and I want this. It's going to end up being much smaller, which is totally fine. I have no problem with that. So that would be our vellum piece. And I think what I'll do is fold it the other way. And that way that'll make a nice front to our signature. Like that. So I will trim all the rest of them off camera and get them ready, but at least want to put them in some kind of order. So let's just get them folded and then we can put them in order how we want them. Because I want some of the digitals and then I want some of the coffee dye and tea dye papers. And of course these will be a little bit larger because we're not trimming anything off. And having different sizes really makes it fun. Okay, so let's put this signature together and then I will do the rest of them. And then the next time we get together, I will show you all the ones that I've done. Let's just go ahead and take this one that I have already cut the edges. And then let's add this bubble paper. And another one of these. I want to spread these out. I love this one. I just love the different textures. I think this is from Pink Willow paper. I think she crumples it up and does her coffee dyeing on it, and then she opens it up and you get these amazing effects. So I really like getting her digital paper, or her coffee dye paper, not her digital paper. Okay, so let's put this in here, and then I want to add, let's see, how many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this will make 8. Let's put this one here, and then that way. So that'll be one of our signatures. So what I will do before we get together the next time is I will have all of these trimmed. I will have them all put together into signatures, and then we can go ahead and put it all together into the cover that we just made. So I hope you'll join me as we continue through this winter journal, and it's going to be very vintage. A couple of the things I will show you that I'm going to be adding in here is I have found a bunch of these winter photos, very vintagey looking photos. I want to create some different projects out of these, whether they be journal cards or maybe add to tags. So I have some that are just children and people, and then I also have some that are animals. And I want to use these throughout it, and we'll make them look a lot more vintage. I will link the digital shop that I got these from as well from there. And then also I have some old envelopes that I want to use. And some of them also have a letter inside. So I want to use these in this journal as well. And I'm not sure if I want to put some of these into the signature, or if I just want to create pockets or flaps with them, but I do want to add these as well. And then we will do a bunch of other decorating. So these are some of the things that I'll be using as we continue through this process. So hopefully you'll join me. This will be just a mini series, maybe 3 sessions, and we'll get this put together and do some fun stuff with it. So hope you'll join me as we continue creating this vintage winter journal. You guys have a great day. God bless you all. Happy New Year. It's coming up. So be safe, and we'll see you at the next video. Bye.